the founder of a company called m.Paani, and we're based in India. And basically our mission and vision is to digitize and organize India's local retailers so that we can actually design what the future of hyperlocal shopping is going to be. And effectively, by powering local retailers, build the largest retail chain in the world without having to build a single physical shop ourselves. So I think to understand this a little bit, let me tell you about Indian retail. And I find it really fascinating, so hopefully you won't be put off by retail as a category or a word. It is really interesting. So India is really unique in how the retail market is structured. Unlike any other economy, more than 90% of Indian retail happens through local mom and pop shops. These are small neighborhood stores that sell everything from your groceries to when you go to the pharmacy to clothes, everything. And that's more than 90% of our economy. So when you look at retail in India in 2016, they said the market size was about 672 billion, where less than 100 billion was the organized sector, which is e-commerce and big box retail. 612 billion of that sector was informal retail, unorganized retail. And when you look out to 2020, the organized sector only goes to about 140 to 180 billion, but your informal economy grows to 1.1 trillion. And I think this is incredibly unique to India because in a lot of places in the world, e-commerce and big box is actually, causing the informal sector or small shops to shut down. In India, the story very much seems to be that we're going to see the modernization of local stores and local businesses to become the future of what Indian retail is. So how many retailers are we talking about? We're talking about more than 60 million retailers. And 10 to 15 million of those alone are in grocery and supermarkets. So that's the sheer volume of retailers. But less than 5% of them are digitized in any way whatsoever. I'm talking about even having a card swiping machine. So there's a huge opportunity for disruption of the local retail market in the country and therefore retail as a whole in India. And why is retail the preferred choice? Well, 86% of an Indian consumer's shopping happens within 3 to 4 kilometers of their house within local retail. And the reality is in India, we have a lot of people. Mobility is becoming harder as our infrastructure is not really catching up to the pace of the growth of our country. So people don't want to go very far when they're shopping. And so from a consumer's perspective, hyperlocal retail is the preferred form of retail. I get delivery to my house, it's close to me, it's really fast, and that's where I would choose to transact if I had the choice. Similarly, if you look at FMCGs as a consequence, so Unilever, P&G, any of these companies, more than 90% of their goods are actually sold through the informal sector. It's not going through online, it's not going through a big box, it's going through our amazing wide network of local mom and pop shops. And what's interesting about this number is actually that despite the fact that the organized sector is growing, that number has stayed the same. So it's not that, in the last few years, it's gone from 95% to 90%. It has actually stayed very steady. So what that means is that CPG companies are just selling more, but the split between the channels is staying very much the same. And there's something really interesting happening with India in general and the Indian consumer. So there are 2 key trends I really want to talk about. The first is exposure to new retail. Now, India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We obviously have, a huge disparity in income levels. But what's happened is in recent years is every single Indian consumer, irrespective of how much income they're making, is now being exposed to e-commerce and new types of big box retail. And that's really transformed the psyche of the Indian consumer. Whether they're making 5,000 rupees a month, which is less than $100 a month, or thousands and thousands of dollars a month. E-commerce has introduced every Indian to online discovery, online product comparison, online price comparison, loyalty programs, Prime, digital marketing. These are things every Indian would not have been exposed to previously. And the second is large format retail has also introduced every Indian consumer to modern retail. So self-service aisles, ACs, modern look and feel, having a loyalty program with a card again, different types of commerce, discounts, offers, big campaigns. This is no longer something that just the rich are aware of. It is something every Indian is now aware of and wants. And the second phenomenon is the Jio effect. Now, I don't know how many of you know who Jio is or who Reliance is, but Reliance basically in the last 2 years made data the cheapest in the world in India. Just to give you a comparison, in India today, 1 gigabyte of data costs 22 cents. Compared to the US, here 1 gigabyte of data costs you $12. So India now, you have 1.3 billion of us coming online, so watch out, right? So, I mean, these graphs kind of say it all. If you see the one on the, would be my left or your right, I don't know. But you have really, really limited data consumption in India, and then Jio suddenly drops the price of data and effectively gives the entire country data for free. So India's data consumption has just skyrocketed. And the graph on the other side basically gives you data consumption as related to price. So not just with India, but most of the East, you have 4.4 billion people that live in Asia. Tech companies, even Valley companies, your biggest user bases are going to be in the East, and they're going to be probably in India. So I think for everyone in here, what's interesting is that Netflix, all these companies that have launched in India, their largest user base is in India. So soon we're going to have to think about designing for India first. Google itself comes to India and talks about how they're actually testing and building for Indians first and then bringing it here. So this is a massive change in the world. And what that's meant for the Indian consumer is that every Indian now wants a digital-first experience, even if they're transacting offline. They're downloading apps, they're consuming content at an unprecedented rate. So you now have this Indian consumer that's far more digitally driven and demanding. The new norm is, I don't care how much money I make, I expect online discovery and I expect online engagement. This is incredibly new. The second is that I want a personalized experience. If you're gonna send me an offer, I now have learned this through e-commerce and other platforms. I want that offer to be relevant to me when you're communicating with me as a retailer or a brand. Speak to me as is relevant to my preferences and who I am. I want discounts, offers, and loyalty. So to me, the biggest joke in the world today is that Indians are the most spoiled consumers in the world. We want the best experience and we don't want to pay for anything. So we want discounts, we want offers, we want loyalty. This is no longer something that should only be available to the rich. Every Indian expects this. And finally, I want online delivery and I want convenience and I want it at my house. So where does that leave your local Indian retailer? He's been handling the majority of India's commerce for a very long time, but suddenly India is changing and his customer is changing. So the Indian local retailer actually has a phenomenal number of competitive advantages. He usually has a competitive price. He has the best consumer relationship. They provide phenomenal service. They know the customer. You will always get the product you want. When I shop at my local retailer, there are times where he may not have the product that I want. He will literally go to other stores, buy it in retail, and make sure when he delivers to my house, I get 100% of what I need. He will sell it to me on credit. I only pay at the end of the month. He has the biggest selection by neighborhood. He's profiled who lives in that neighborhood, so he'll have really unique things relevant to the people in his neighborhood. And even if I am the only customer that wants one product, he will stock it just for me. He's so close to me. He delivers to me within 15 minutes. If I want something at 11 p.m., it'll be at my door within 15 or 5 minutes. There's no minimum order. It's an unbelievable amount of, unbelievable consumer experience. Frankly, we're all incredibly spoiled. So you have this retailer that for, decades and decades has been serving us in a way that I don't think you could get served anywhere in the world. And now they have regulatory protections as well. The government wants to make sure that local retailers stick around. Where they have challenges suddenly is that we as consumers have all these new expectations. Because we want to go digital, we now have access to data, we have all this exposure to new types of retail. So he's not able to be discoverable online. I want to find him online. Most Indians now are starting their retail experience by looking for something online, even if they go and buy it offline. So he's not discoverable online. He has no loyalty program. He's not engaging with me digitally. He's not providing me with online delivery. On top of the fact that he's not really tech enabled. He has no organized data. He has no systems whatsoever. And that's where we really come in. What the Indian retailer has is a challenge in digitization. It's a challenge in using systems, and it's a challenge in becoming data-driven. He has all the competitive advantages in actually serving the customer. All he needs is a little help. And so what we've built is a platform that actually amplifies local retailers' strengths while bridges the gaps that they face. And we fundamentally believe that the future of Indian retail is local. So by transforming the local retailer, we can actually design what the consumer experience of shopping in India is going to be in the future. So the name of our product is m.Paani Aapka Business Saathi, which literally means a partner in your business. And our vision is to be a partner with the Indian local retailer. We want to be a partner today in digitization and organization, and we want to move this into being the equivalent, frankly, of a Google Assistant for the local retailer, where they can ask us any questions and we'll have an answer, and we'll not just have an answer, but carry that into a solution and implementation. So today our product is a full stack digitization and business growth solution for a local retailer. It takes the retailer online. It creates a digital storefront. We create a website. We create a consumer app. We tag them on all relevant social media, including their Google Maps tag. We then actually digitize their entire business. We digitize their customer relationships, and we digitize their store management. In terms of customer relationship, now customers can order online. They have a loyalty program. They're receiving offers and what products and prices are from their retailer via an app or via SMS or via the website. And eventually we're using that data and analyzing that data to actually suggest to the retailer what they should be stocking, what they should be selling, making sure they don't have dead stock. So suddenly their business becomes far more efficient. It's a growth solution because through the product we also launch their loyalty program and their digital marketing. And finally, we help them understand their businesses so much better. These retailers do know their business, but they've never actually looked at data in a structured way. So by actually giving them access to their own data at the first level, enabling them to understand what is your business volume? How many transactions are you really doing? Who are your customers? Who are your non-repeat customers? Who are your loyal customers? And then on that data, helping them take actions to grow their business. This is a little bit of a picture of the product. I've kind of talked about all of them, but the key components are go online, build a CRM, full suite loyalty, and what we call digital CMO. This is where we actually also use a layer of machine learning where the marketing plans and the customer lifecycle engagement is completely customized at a store level. We work with the POS. We obviously give business data and performance analytics. We are doing intelligent inventory and sales suggestions. And finally, we're going to move into growth integration. So imagine a single platform where we also integrate with any third parties, including lending players, where the retailer is operating his business through us and can access third-party services like loans, maybe new customer acquisition through other channels or partnerships, all through a single solution. A few of our machine learning use cases. One is smart baskets. So actually with the consumer predicting what you're going to order, suggesting what you could order, and making the consumer experience far more intelligent. Savings tracker. How much are you saving by shopping locally? An intelligent wallet that tries to maximize your savings through hyperlocal retail and also tries to calculate your time savings. By shopping locally, by shopping on credit, it's more efficient than going online. It's probably more efficient than going to your big box retailer. So now on the consumer side, we're providing you with far more savings and we're showing you what it is. And much like Gojek, who will be speaking later, and a few other players, but enabling the retailer to do delivery, but optimizing their delivery routes. So we've worked with now over 20,000 retailers. We have a huge amount of case studies and data to show that through our solution, we increase transactions at retailers by more than 25%, sales go up 30%, new customer acquisition 20%, and in terms of the loyalty program, our redemption rates are incredibly high, around 50 to 60%. So the solution works and is, giving real value to our retail partners. A few stories. So we have real case studies of retailers growing their business. We have real stories of retailers who are about to shut down because a big box opened down the street and started working with us, where we looked at the data, we looked at how to retain their customers, and then we looked at how to cross-sell and upsell those customers so they wouldn't lose to the big box retailer. So this is one of our retail partners that's already seen 15% growth in his sales. It's really important in India that your product works very easily. So our product works for retailers on app and on web. Imagine 60 million retailers with all of them have different types of phones. Some of them use computers and some of them don't. If they're using PCs, they're on incredibly outdated softwares. Building for this fragmented market requires a whole other way of communicating. When I speak to my retailers on phone, some of them aren't even comfortable typing. I have retailers who literally communicate with me in emojis. I should have taken screenshots, actually. So I'll get like a phone plus question mark means call me. I have other retailers who only send me voice notes. And I have other retailers who only send me images. So you're dealing with this market that's suddenly come online and is learning how to communicate digitally, but has a whole host of constraints around their comfort level, coupling that with local language. So designing for India is an incredibly complex but exciting challenge. So the fact that your product works easily for any type of retailer is incredibly important. For consumers, we have stories of consumers being really happy that they're able to actually understand what savings they can get at their local retailer and maximize what they're buying and when they're buying it. But I think what's really interesting is we also have a lot of impact stories. So our consumers can redeem their points for discounts, but they can also redeem their points for things like water filters and solar lamps. So we have these amazing stories where we have a rickshaw driver that redeemed his points, a rickshaw driver's wife that redeems their family's points for a mobile phone. And she gave that mobile phone to her husband, and it was the first mobile phone in their family. We have another story of a student redeeming a solar lamp and sending it back to his village because their village is unelectrified and his sibling was studying for his exams. We have a chaiwala or a tea seller that's redeemed for water filters. And he used the water filters to sell tea with filtered water and actually was able to increase the price of the tea that he was selling. So not only are our impact stories on the retailer side, they're on our consumer side as well. Where we are today, we have worked with more than 20,000 retailers across India. We have more than 1 million consumers on our platform. And today we're across India and hope one day to be digitizing and organizing not just India's local retailers, but the world's local retailers across emerging markets. So I'm going to stop there and have MJ join me. We're going to switch it up and do a fireside chat standing now.
Very exciting. So Akanksha, tell me why you created m.Paani.
So I'm from India. I was born in Pune. I was the first person in my family actually to get to go to university. I was very fortunate to go to Princeton here. But my parents started with 44 rupees actually, which is less than a US dollar. So, where my family started and where I am today and where they are today is like night and day. And that's very much a testament to my parents. But I have seen what it is like to be on both sides of the coin. And most people in India, unfortunately, work incredibly hard, but that does not lead to the results that we were able to see. So I think from a really young age, it was really important to me that whatever I did with the opportunities I was very lucky to have, I wanted it to be something that made a difference. And I think more importantly, I wanted it to be something that created a more equal world and a fairer system in India, that if you work hard, you can succeed. And that's why I came back to India and started this.
That's amazing. And so why is India so important today?
So kind of going back to the earlier slide, we have the cheapest data in the world. And I think what's really happening in India is a a couple of things. One is we're at a point where enough infrastructure exists in India for us to build really big businesses. And when I look out here and when I walk around the valley, there are a lot of Indians. And a couple of generations ago, I would not have gone back to India. My parents would have sent me overseas like they did, with the aspiration that I make a lot of money in the States, I eventually get a green card and become a citizen. But what's changed now is people like me are not staying here. We're going back and we want to build at home. So I think the first phenomenon is these huge companies that were built here were built, if not led by Indians, in partnership with Indians, especially on the engineering teams. And I think those young engineers are going to go back and build the next generation of companies in India. And they're going to build global companies from India. And I think that's the first phenomenon. I think the second one is 4.4 billion people in the world are in Asia. And that entire world is coming online. And even companies that are built here that want to be global companies, your biggest user bases are going to be there. So you're actually going to design there first with all its constraints and complexities and also opportunities for innovation. But power and tides are changing east. And I think that's what's really interesting, coupled with the fact that you now have incredibly cheap data and consumption of the internet and everything that comes with the internet at unprecedented rates in India in particular. And there's 1.3 billion of us, so,
Yeah.
can't be ignored.
Yeah. So you spend most of your day talking to retailers along with your eng team. What is one of those stories that has made the most impact for you and your company?
So the way I structure my days, actually, I spend the first half of the day going and meeting retailers, and I spend the second half of the day with the team in the office. And I think what's very different about our team is that everyone every week has to meet some retailer. I don't care if you're an engineer, an office boy, a delivery associate, you meet our users. And I think that's created a great amount of compassion and user obsession on the team. But I think the thing that there was a retailer, for example, in Bangalore who had a D-Mart, which was one of our big box retailers, open down the road. His business had shrunk by 30%. And when I met him personally, he was honestly desperate, because every local retailer, their business is their livelihood. They're supporting 4 to 5 family members at minimum. And by working with us, we were actually able to stabilize his business and start to grow it over time. And that's exactly what motivates us.
It's amazing. Is there anything that you think the future of India is reliant on other than data and the biggest problems that the world sees today?
Sorry?
What do you think is the future of India reliant on today other than data and the biggest problems?
I think the future of India relies upon us building a huge amount of infrastructure at a fundamental level.
Yeah.
But I think India is the most exciting economy to be a part of at this point in time. I think we're a leapfrog economy. We leapfrogged the landline. We've leapfrogged the computer. And I think artificial intelligence and machine learning is most relevant in populations that have all these complexities where, multiple languages, people need to do things over voice, predictability of language. There's so many things that are required to empower Indians or consumers at all different literacy levels. And again, I think, we have digital payments at a larger scale, or we'll have it at a larger scale in India and Indonesia, and a lot of places in the world that it's happening in the West. So I think payments we're going to leapfrog. I think how delivery is done and how retail looks in the future, I think we're leapfrogging. I think our local retailers' consumer experience will be far more advanced than retail experiences here. And so I think everyone should get on a plane and come visit us in India and see what's happening over there. I'm sure Google will pay for it.
Yeah, I did. So it was incredible.
Questions?
Yeah, one more question for you is something that we've been talking a lot about is human-centered machine learning. It's something that you care about a lot. The idea is that humans don't meet tech where it is, but that tech meets humans where they are. And you've highlighted that a little bit. Do you want to talk about your own sort of philosophy around data strategy within m.Paani to meet the customer where they are?
Sure. So I think the first problem we're solving with our platform is also unlocking data for retailers and unlocking data of this massive economy that's offline. And unlocking that data actually enables a huge number of services for retailers that they can't do currently because there is no data about them. It's one that's been talked about a lot here, which is any kind of fintech, financial services, insurance. You have nearly most of India that has no data footprint. That's why therefore they cannot access these services. So I think just having data in today's economy means you have more equal opportunities.
Yeah. And the dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through that, obviously, by creating a more level playing field for everyone, whether it's consumers or retailers, you're delivering a more dignified way of life. I think the thing that I think we all need to think about as we're pursuing technology and advancement is automation and the balance between automation and retraining, and what does that mean for all those jobs that are going to change in the future. And I think that's something I spend a lot of time thinking about today.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. Thank you so much.